Hey listeners, Nat here. Welcome back to Cheers with Nat, the podcast dedicated to cheering on women in drinks. It's time for the final episode of my NYC miniseries. Today's guest is Victoria Garcia, senior bartender at Sip and Guzzle. You'll hear how Victoria got her start in hospitality, what keeps her here, and what it's really like to work at the recently crowned Best Bar in North America. She also shares why mentorship matters, what makes a good bartender, the hobby that keeps her grounded outside of work, and more. It's time for a cheers and a chat with Victoria Garcia. Here she is.
I'm slightly embarrassed because you just told me you came from Beer Cup, and I brought Coors Light, which is my favorite shitty beer.
Okay.
This is what I like to drink after I unwind after work, and it's just classic. It's simple, it's cheap, you can find it almost anywhere.
I love this.
And I also think that it's pretty cool that you can see how cold your beverage is on the bottle. I don't know if you can do that on the can.
Yeah, the mountains go blue.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing well right now. It's still cold. So that's what I got.
My go-to, because the options here really are Bud Miller Coors. I'm a Bud drinker
Bud
personally.
Light? Okay.
This Bud's for you. I think mainly because I got to visit St. Louis. So
yeah,
I went to St. Louis for
cool.
a beercation for my 25th birthday when I was living in New York.
Okay.
And I took 3 girlfriends with me.
Sweet.
And we did go to some amazing local craft breweries.
Okay.
We went to Perennial, which I absolutely love, and then Side Project, which was their side project. So craft, really amazing options. And then I brought them all to Budweiser, and we did the Budweiser tour, and it was just so epic.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it's good to win me over to Coors now that it's your favorite.
Perfect.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm very excited to enjoy a beer with you.
Same.
Now, you do not work in beer.
I do not.
But you enjoy beer as a switch off from what you do.
Yes.
So tell me about your role in the world of drinks and what a day-to-day, or I'm going to get even more precise with you, hour by hour looks like in your world, because I want to know, we'll kind of start with what your job is and then what a shift looks like for you, because it's not a 9 to 5.
It is not, no. So I'm a senior bartender at a bar in the West Village here in Manhattan called Sip and Guzzle, and our day-to-day there is quite fun. So we all have different schedules in terms of opening bartender, mid, and then closing. I open twice a week, and then I close one night, and then I'm mid the other 2 nights. So when I'm opening, I go in at 2 p.m. I start by opening the bar, cutting all the garnishes, making sure we have everything set up properly for service, doing making sure, because we have prep people that help us with opening the bar, so kind of just double checking work and things like that. Then we have pre-shift at 3:30, so we go over what service may look like throughout the night and how many reservations we have, if we have any VIPs, and so on and so forth. We open our doors at 4 p.m. And depending on the day, we're typically open until 2 a.m. Besides Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're open until 1. So the opening bartender typically stays until it kind of slows down throughout the night. So that can vary, Usually it's around 11:30, sometimes midnight. Wow. So we're there for maybe 8.
Could be up to a 10-hour
10
shift.
could be up to 10 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah, then we go through service, we, have a good time and hope the guests have a good time as well. There's a lot of, newcomers that come in. We have a lot of regulars, of course, and a huge portion of our shift is making sure people obviously are having a good time and feeling comfortable, but also explaining our concept, because people might come in and just think that the first floor, which is Guzzle, is just Sip and Guzzle and not know that Sip is also located downstairs.
Yeah.
So
tell me about that then. What is the difference between Sip and Guzzle?
So Sip is our more kind of intricate and intimate concept. That's the sort of speakeasy bar that we have downstairs. So it's more focused around Japanese technique bartending and really prep intensive cocktails. So it's, showcasing precision within the bartending and also really cool things that they're able to do with their drinks. And it's a much smaller space. There's no standing room, so it's all just to be seated. And yeah, you're kind of, it's really cool and interesting because you're really transported into kind of the Japanese cocktail world, if you will. So then when you walk in through the doors upstairs and you go through Guzzle, it's very laid back. It's kind of has more of like a tavern feel, and we try to keep it. Our craft cocktails there are more classic cocktails with riffs and flavors you know and love. So we like to call them comfort cocktails. And, you know, the energy is very high. It's super high volume. We really like to think of ourselves as like the guard dogs of SIP, which is really funny. And so we have this, you know, really cool, I like to call it the best of both worlds. So you have a place where you're able to go down and, you know, be curious and talk about some really cool things that they're doing down there. And then you can come upstairs with a Guzzle bar team and really kind of just like relax and enjoy the energy and, you know, have fun with the bartenders and enjoy a really great like classic riff on, you know, what we have to offer. So it's really fun and it's interesting.
Yeah, I was there last night, so I'm gonna weave in some of my experience and ask you plenty of questions about it. But I first want to start by going back to when you were little Victoria, dreaming of the future. What did you think you were going to be when you grew up, and do you see any parallels between that and what you do now? I don't think you imagined you'd be a senior cocktail bartender.
Yeah.
But what was that vision when you were little?
That's a good question. I think I had many different ideas and visions that I had for myself. I think the most potent one or the most passionate one was being a filmmaker. I've always been a really huge film buff, and I went to a liberal arts high school where I studied filmmaking, and I studied journalism for a little while because I thought I wanted to be a film critic. And, you know, over the course of time, I just realized, like, who the hell cares what I have to say about it? It's just like either I write it and do it myself, you know?
Okay.
I would rather do that and make something that I'm proud of. So yeah, I just wanted to make movies. I wanted to write them, and I think a part of that was because when I was watching them and I kind of saw the magic of people and what they were capable of doing and their talent, it made me fall in love with people and like their passion. And I think that ties a lot into what I do now in hospitality.
Okay.
You know, you really extend yourself, and you're surrounded by other colleagues that are just as hardworking and passionate as you. So I think there's some correlation. Obviously, there's a lot of creativity too, you know, like the art of cinema and creating those stories and narratives and things like that. There is a lot of that in hospitality, in bars. So creating concepts, you know, the fruition and foundation of why a concept came to birth, and then even extending that onto your cocktail menu, and then it goes to the guest. So there are some similarities there for sure.
Okay, so weave the journey then for us. How did you go from studying filmmaking journalism to get into the world of drinks?
So I first moved to New York when I was 19 in 2016. So I came here for a completely different job. I was working in fashion at the time, and
oh wow,
yeah, it was a very, very different world, and I wasn't quite into it. It felt very disingenuous to me, and I wanted to kind of learn a skill, something that I can physically do, and I also wanted to make money. I wanted to make more money. If you want to exist
in New York, you got to make some money.
You got to do it. You know,
where
I wanted
did you
to live.
come from?
I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And had you had that job in fashion, that's what brought you to New York? Or did you move and then find the job?
I was kind of doing it for fun. Like, I didn't really take it that seriously. And then I was scouted by someone who was an agent in New York, but from Michigan, who wanted me to be a part of their agency in New York.
Okay.
So they found me, and then it kind of
brought you out to the city.
Went on from there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of a whirlwind. Everything happened very fast. They scouted me, and then I think like 2 weeks later, I just packed some bags and came to New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it.
Yeah. So what were you doing for them?
I hate saying this out loud, but I was modeling for a little while. And nothing against it, nothing against the world or like anything like that. It's just like so weird to say out loud, I think, for me, because it just is like
that sounds
weird.
quite cool.
It was cool.
Maybe because you're not in that space anymore.
Yeah, I'm not in that space. You
feel disconnected from it, or?
Yeah, I kind of felt a little disconnected even while I was doing it. I think I was also just kind of insecure as, a 19-year-old kid coming to the big city and being thrown into that world was quite a lot. It was really jarring. So it took quite some adjustment. But yeah, I did that for a little while. I had some agencies, and then, I was waiting for my contracts with the agencies to end so that I could move on. And and then I eventually got into hospitality, and that really changed my trajectory in my life, basically.
Yeah. What led you to pick hospitality?
Yeah, so I thought it was really interesting. I really didn't know much about bars or restaurants. I thought that bartending looked cool. I thought that it was awesome that you got to be creative and talk to people. And I knew that you could make a lot of money doing it, especially in New York City. So it kind of all tied in together and made sense for me at that time to pursue. It was things that I was interested in and a way to make money. And then, once I got started in it, I started quickly realizing, like, wow, this is actually something I truly want to pursue and could really have a career in doing it.
And how did you get started? If someone is on the drinker's side of the bar and says, actually, I want to be behind the bar, what do you do? Just, if you didn't have experience, you just drop in a CV or just ask someone to take a chance on you?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think especially in New York, because it kind of is like a lot of, who you know, or if you have connections, or if you have New York experience, which at that point I obviously didn't.
Yeah.
So I happened to know some folks. I knew this gentleman, actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. While I was exiting modeling, one thing that I was doing before I came to New York was actually working at a butcher shop, which is quite weird.
Whoa, totally
and
different.
So fun. Yeah, it's like, all these different things happening. And so I was finishing my contracts with the modeling agency, and I was working at this butcher shop, and one of the butchers that I was working with, I was telling him how I wanted to pursue bartending. And he was like, oh, I have a really good friend who's a bartender. He's amazing. He's actually looking for a bar back. If you want me to introduce you to him.
Wow.
Literally had no idea what he was saying. I had no idea what a bar back was.
Yeah.
Or I was just like, sure, if that gets me behind the bar.
Yeah.
So I ended up meeting him, and we had an interview, and, I was very honest. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what this is, but I
want
eager.
to give it a go.
Yeah. And he saw that, and he was just like, you know what, this is perfect because you don't have any prior experience or past habits.
Yeah.
So I can essentially really mold you, into just being a badass.
Yeah.
And hopefully you catch on. So that's how I got started. I started as a bar back, and it was, you start as a bar back and then you make your way up to being a bartender. Most of the time, there are some chances people take on you where you can just start as a bartender. But for me personally, in my opinion, I think that it did a lot of really good things for me and my work habits to start off as a bar back.
What is the difference between those roles for people who aren't in the hospital world?
Bar backing is basically, you are kind of the core of the bar. So you're stocking glassware, you're stocking garnishes, you're making sure juices are out. You're making sure that the bartender is essentially capable of doing their job and creating cocktails for people. And you're making it run. So you're providing ice, glasses, all the garnishes and everything. And it's a role that is, I think, sometimes more physically demanding than an actual bartender.
Okay.
It requires a lot from you physically.
Yeah.
And a lot of multitasking, a lot of adapting to different bartenders, because different bartenders will ask different things.
Ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just kind of learning how to navigate around that. So yeah, I think that the bar back is almost like the backbone of a bar, basically.
Yeah, and then super important to have experienced it yourself.
Yes,
to understand how
exactly.
that role works. And
Right.
that's that important stepping stone to get to senior bartender where
Yes.
you are now. And how did you go from bartender to senior bartender? What sort of experience did you need to get from one place to the next? Have you been in New York this whole time?
So I was in New York the first time for about 4 years, and then I left during the pandemic, and I went back home. I was living in Michigan. I lived in Mexico City for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And
I
then,
really want to go there.
It's beautiful.
I'll pick your brain.
Oh my God, please do. I will have a million places to show you. And so I did that for another 4 years. And then when Sip and Guzzle finally was opening, I came back to New York. So that was 2 years ago.
So you came back specifically for this role?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So who invited you back?
Steve Schneider. So he is my mentor and bar manager and owner of Sip and Guzzle. I met him years ago when we were working together at a different cocktail bar called Employees Only. So
Also here in New York. Yeah.
Also here in New York, yes. Very, very amazing, iconic.
Yeah,
iconic
legendary.
bar.
I was going to throw out.
Yes,
yeah.
legendary. Yes, and I started working there, and Steve had moved from Singapore back to New York. He was living and working over there, owning and managing Employees Only over there.
Oh, I didn't know there was one there too.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. There's some out there, and so he came out back to New York, and we met, and we just started working together. And he told me his vision and idea for Sip and Guzzle, and I immediately gravitated towards it because I just believed in him so much as a person and a mentor. And then we talked about it for some time, and I unfortunately had to leave New York, and he would was like, I want you to be a part of this team once it comes to fruition. And he called me 4 years later and was like, all right, we're finally doing it. And I just immediately burst into tears.
Wow.
To have someone like him to still think of me after all of those years, to still want me to be a part of it was a huge honor.
Yeah.
So, of course, I had to come back.
Yeah.
And now I can't turn that down. I was like, I gotta go. Quit my job and also did the same thing. I packed 2 bags and I came back to New York. So, yeah, I've been there ever since.
Wow. And when did it open?
January of 2024.
Okay, so not too long now.
Yeah, so a little over 2 years.
Yeah, and it certainly made its mark. So you are just back from Vancouver, where North America's 50 best bars were announced. Sip and Guzzle took home #1.
Yes, we did.
What was that experience like?
Super surreal. I think that I'm still processing everything that has happened. I think, obviously I feel an immense amount of gratitude and happiness, but it's also just like, I feel like my brain is like kind of lagging, like information is coming in, but it's like slowly processing everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still feel like I'm in the middle of processing everything, but it was absolutely surreal. We were not expecting it at all.
What does that kind of recognition mean for the business and then for you as the people working there? Is that going to change the game for you?
Yeah, I think inevitably it does. It starts to become something that is more on people's radar, that they want to go and see and try and see why are you #1.
Yeah.
And so it's going to create a lot of attraction for quite some time for people to want to come in.
Yeah.
More so than before, even though before we were...
You were already plenty busy.
We're pretty busy.
Yeah.
So it'll be more of that, and we're really excited and ready for it. I think that the team has, we all work in such a cohesive unit that it just works and it makes sense and we're prepared. And I think what it means for the team is just, kind of locking in and preparing yourselves for that mentally, physically, emotionally. And yeah, I think, we had a conversation through our group chat after we won, and we were just like, all right, it's time to go. Like, these are the things that we need to do. This is what's going to happen. And we were just all so excited. And, we just wanted to celebrate and really enjoy. We want to enjoy the upcoming weeks, months, years, whatever, of all of it, of course.
Yeah, enjoying the recognition.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was very lucky to get to be at Sip and Guzzle last night. Got in the queue at 4 o'clock, so waited outside and was able to have my first experience at Guzzle. Sip only opens at 5. So I'm sitting upstairs, and it was quiet enough, as folks came in and took their seats, and I didn't get a seat at the bar initially, so I'm kind of waiting at the back, waiting to get my drink. Oh my goodness, right before Sip opens, it got packed in there.
Yeah.
By like 4:30, 4:45, tons and tons of people.
Yeah.
And I had gotten my seat at the bar and started chatting to the lovely regular Tim, who was sitting next to me.
Oh my God, I loved him.
And you know, I'm like watching Nate do his thing, and he is making 3 drinks at once, just given like how busy it is and how many people are there and the demands. How do you prepare for that kind of pace? You also are, I don't know if this is the right terminology, like a special type of bartender, being a free pour bartender. So what does that mean? And then how do you prepare for just the volume of people that you need to serve every night?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, you want to make sure that your bar is ready and that we have everything that we need so that we're able to have a smooth service. And, as bartenders and shout out to our prep guys who also help prepare the bar for us, we all are pretty on top of it, and we do a really good job at making sure that that's all set to go, glassware, garnishes, juices, syrups, all that good stuff. And also during pre-shift, we talk a lot about, what the night may look like and reservations and everything, so we have an idea of what we're kind of essentially getting ourselves into.
Yeah.
And just kind of supporting each other throughout that. Like if we know we're gonna have a busy night, it's just like looking at each other and being like, all right, we fucking got this.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna rock it out tonight. It's gonna be busy. We're gonna have fun. It's really kind of looking on the positive side instead of being stressed about what we're gonna endure. And so, going to free pouring, I think that it obviously works in high volume environments because it makes you faster.
Yeah.
It's also quite a challenge in terms of, because we're not measuring anything, exact measurements. Every bartender is going to be a little bit different, but the way that I was trained was you're counting.
Yeah, you're using time as the measure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you're counting. You're also eyeballing it. Those are kind of the main 2 things. For me personally, I count. I eyeball it, I feel the weight of the actual glass,
okay,
and then I smell and I taste. So I really try to use all of my senses and incorporate it into every cocktail, because with free pouring, it can be a little hard to be consistent, So I think when I use all of my senses and I'm able to like smell, taste, and feel and see and all of those things, it helps with creating consistency for the cocktails that I'm giving to the guests.
I love that. It's the idea of you calibrating yourself to how to make the drink.
Yes, exactly.
So this is my ultimate goal. I know I need to wait this long, it feels this heavy, and then it's you testing yourself against what you've calibrated to.
Exactly.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
How do you learn to do that? Practice?
Practice. Yeah. So this is a technique that I learned when I was working at Employees Only. That's the technique that they use there. And so we used to have training sessions there once a month when we would do inventory. All the bartenders would get together in bar backs, and there's a position there called a stalker. And we would all get together and, do inventory together. And there would be training sessions with counting and using, we would use not a measuring cup, but it was like this thing where it would give you the milliliters, like this tall thing. I don't even remember what it's called, but so we would each person
pour and then assess how many mils you poured.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, we would, all the bartenders would sit, we would have someone behind the bar and we would call out 1.5, 2 ounces, 3 ounces, and then we would test that.
Wow.
So that was fun. So yeah, it was just basically constant training, and I feel like even though
sounding like a sport.
It is like a sport. It feels like it because it's not competitive by any means, but it's just it's a skill that you acquire over time.
So that's a bit of the physical prep.
Yes.
And you said the mental piece clearly is a big part of it too, having that positivity and kind of locking in and saying, we're going to get through this together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prepare for the mental side? And then how do you decompress after?
So I think for the mental side, it's just really kind of leaning on your team. You know what I mean? We're not alone. We obviously work as a team, and I think that the culture and the dynamics that we have at Sip and Guzzle is really amazing. I mean, I think in general in hospitality, a lot of people talk about the camaraderie that it creates within each place, and that's specifically true for us. So it's really just but just kind of leaning onto your people if and when you need to, and asking for help if you need it. You know what I mean? There's no shame in that, even though some of us have been doing it for 10 plus years, some 20, some
Wow.
some of our bartenders own their own businesses and have things going on outside. It's cool and really humbling to know that we're able to reach out to one another and help each other out when needed.
What makes a great bartender?
How much time do we have? Because this is a long question.
I want to hear it.
I think what makes a good bartender is, the ability of being adaptable and extending yourself, being adaptable to your environment and everything that means, because sometimes you run into things, people or whatever, that may be difficult, and trying to navigate through that. I think an authentic, genuine bartender is the best. Someone who is just themselves. I think that's what creates regulars, why people want to continue to come back and see you. Aside from the environment, aside from what you're offering for food and beverage, like most of the time when I go to bars, there's people there that I want to go and see.
Yeah.
So that's really special, is just bringing your genuine persona into it. And I think that's the major part. There's definitely more things that my brain can't think of right now, but I think just being genuine and adaptable, and being able to, be humble and again, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, is just asking for help if you need it, and not having the ego to just kind of say you can take everything on, but when you can't, you really can't. It's just being a good team player. It's like helping out your coworkers and being really good to the generation that's coming in, and being empathetic and nurturing the newer generation as well.
Speaking about the idea of the new generation, it seems this is a space you want to be in for a long time. And yes. I think for some folks who aren't in the world of hospitality, people see the bartender role, and really a lot of hospitality roles, as like something you do while you're trying to find something else.
Yeah.
Can you have a career long term as a bartender? And what does that take? What are the things that you've taken on in your career, and what are the things you want to pass on to that younger generation to really show people you can do this long term? This isn't a thing you do on the way to something else.
Yeah. I really had to learn that one, because that's how I started. I started as a bartender who was doing it to pass time and make money, and then, it happened very fast where I learned this is actually something I can make a career out of. And I think what that really takes in order to have longevity in this business is having a balance, and I think in order to continue to have passion for what you do is just also kind of having a balance outside of that. I started off as a really eager young bar back where I wanted to do anything and everything to prove myself, working overtime, extending myself beyond belief, taking on things, and I really wanted to prove myself, and I wanted people to see that I truly was a hard worker. And I remember in the beginning, people would just tell me, relax, you're overdoing it, and you're going to burn yourself out. And so I think in order to avoid that, it's just taking care of yourself. And, I think that's what keeps, the longevity and passion going. It's just being able to, do what you do with full passion, and then take a step back, relax, enjoy the flowers, whatever the saying is. But
stop and smell the roses.
Yes, stop and smell the roses.
So what do you like to do as your switch off? How do you reset? Do you have any hobbies or practices that you enjoy, or it's just disconnecting from the bar?
Yeah, I like to disconnect. I think on my days off, I really don't go out that much. If I do go out, it's usually after my shift, and I'll go and grab a drink with my coworkers. So on my days off, it's really just about my alone time, resetting myself up. Like I said earlier, I really love movies, so I love to go and watch movies.
Do you do it at home, or do you go to any the cool artsy cinemas here?
Yeah,
I used to go to the Angelica when I lived here. I don't know if
love the Angelica.
Yeah.
Yes, I live pretty close to a movie theater called Metrograph. I'm a member there, so they do some really cool stuff. They show a lot of classic movies, which are my favorite. So I love to go there. I love to read. Yeah, I love to see my friends, of course, too. And, you know,
you're like, I'm not just hanging out by myself.
Yeah, I mean, I am a little bit of a loner, but I love my friends as well, and being able to catch up with them and see what they're up to, you know, and everything. But I don't know. I feel like I sound really boring. I sound like a 60-year-old man.
I think your work is so stimulating.
Yeah.
It involves being around so many people.
Yeah.
I feel as an introvert, I like my alone time as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm an extroverted introvert. I don't mind being social.
Exactly.
But I need to be by myself to recharge.
Right.
Do you have a favorite movie or two that you think not enough people have seen?
Oh my God, 100%.
I know, we could do a whole other podcast on that.
Yes.
But I'm like, drop a few things that we might need to check out.
My favorite movie of all time is Harold and Maude.
Oh, okay. Classic. Yeah.
It's I don't think enough people have seen it.
I have not.
Okay.
I just know it is a classic, so I'll make sure I do that.
Yes, everyone should watch that movie.
Okay.
It's the weirdest romantic movie ever, but it's very special.
Okay.
It's very optimistic. I would say that, and man,
I know I've put you on the spot.
Yeah, I like weird stuff too. I really like Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze.
Oh,
you know which one I'm talking about?
No, also not seen
okay.
it. I'm not a big movie person. I'm not the best
okay.
person to have asked this question.
It's funny. Roadhouse is a really good. I think it's like a late '80s movie, and it's Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, and Patrick Swayze plays this bouncer at a bar, and he falls in love, and yeah, so it's like semi-related to hospitality, but that's like that's a movie that I like to like just randomly throw on and have in the background while I do things, and then I'll catch myself being like, oh, this is the part I gotta pay attention now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could go on and on, but I would say like my movie buff answer is Harold and Maude, and then like my true Victoria weirdo answer is Roadhouse.
Nice. So I know that downtime is important to you because not only are you working long hours, long shifts, late nights, you're not just doing it here. You travel a lot. Mm-hmm. You do a lot of guest shifts. I'm curious, two things, like why do you think there's so much international travel in the cocktail bar world? Like there seems to be lots of guest shifts and bar takeovers. Like, what led to that as an important part of the industry, and what is that experience like, just kind of landing in at someone else's bar and running a shift there? Yeah,
it's definitely become a huge thing in the past like 3 to 5 years, because I remember...
So it's quite recent. Okay.
I think so. I mean, I remember back in 2019 when I was working at Employees Only, and it was kind of, and this is just my experience, but like from what I experienced, it seemed kind of rare that people were doing guest shifts.
Okay.
I remember one time we hosted a bar from Norway, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because they were obviously making their own cocktails, and they flew all the way from Norway to be there. So I didn't see it happening as much back then. Now I think that it's become a really globally interesting way of being able to showcase what you do and represent a bar to other bars, you know, and to other guests that go to those bars regularly, if that makes sense. Like, you know, we met each other at the Edinburgh show in Scotland, and we did it at the Cali bar there. So it was a cool way to show what New York does to the people of Edinburgh and people who visit bars regularly there, and show them like, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do. And it's really cool to be able to do that internationally, and then also host other people here as well. So I think it's a really interesting way of, you know, expanding your knowledge on different concepts and different capabilities of what each bar is doing, because there's so many different techniques, there's so many different thousands of varieties of cocktails that you can try, and different types of hospitality as well, you know. Like, I think the way that I experience hospitality here in North America is different than I experienced it in other parts of the world, and that's also quite interesting.
Yeah, to get those kind of takeaways and different perspectives. Mm-hmm. You mentioned preparation being important, but also adaptability.
Yes.
So I guess when you're doing these guest shifts, you're more on the adaptability side. Like, this isn't my normal setup. How do I still do what I want to do and do it as best I can, but not in the space that you're used to doing it in? So you're leaning more into that. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. And You know, it's also important to like not I don't know if I don't know how to explain this, but it's also important to just like enjoy yourself and also like as a bartender not take yourself so seriously. So if something does go wrong with wherever you are, like it's going to be okay. And we're here to, yes, like, you know, expand other people's knowledge and experiences, but like we want to have a good time. Like that's what we do. This is like hospitality, you know. We want to, all the bullshit can happen back behind the scenes, but it's like when you're guest facing, it's being able to not showcase all of that. But yeah, in terms of like other setups and things like that, I think as bartenders and people in hospitality, you that's like almost like a second nature. It's just being adaptable, you know.
Yeah.
You experience a lot of different situations and people day in and day out. So it's just kind of like, all right, we're going to go with the flow and this is what we're doing now. And then, you know, it ends up being fine.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any sort of things you say to yourself in those moments to be like, just focus, chill, figure it out? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just tell myself to chill the fuck out and like it's going to be fine. And like 9 out of 10 times it is.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had something major happen.
Yeah.
It's always ended up being fine. And I'm still quite new to this. Like I'm still quite new to international travel and doing these guest shifts. So I feel like every time I go somewhere I'm learning something new and I'm really trying to have an open mind of, you know, what else can I learn while I'm here. So it's a lot of that, but mostly, yeah, just being able to tell myself like it's gonna be fine. And it usually is.
Is there one particular experience or sort of lesson you've taken away so far that's been particularly memorable?
Let's see. I would say when I went to Thailand Cocktail Week, which was last summer.
Wow.
I went by myself, and that was my first time traveling alone. For the first year and a half of Sip and Guzzle being opened, I traveled with the head bartender at the time named Ben Yabrow.
Okay.
So him and I were travel buddies, and we would do guest shifts together. And Thailand was the first time that I was doing it alone.
Okay.
And I just remember being on the plane, like going there and being like, it was starting to hit me because I was so excited to go because I had never been, you know, and I was really honored to have been asked to go. And I just remember being on the plane, being like, looking at the seat over me and being like, oh shit, my emotional support travel buddy isn't here.
He's not with you.
It's
Yeah.
gone, and I'm gonna be left alone. So that was humbling and scary. And then once I got there, it was just like, oh, you know, I always try to remind myself also, it's like, it's bartending. It's shit that I do every single night.
Yeah.
You know, I make cocktails and talk to people every single night. Like,
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
I can do this anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I had realized that, was that this is something that I always do. And as amazing as it was to have him as a companion there, it was like, it made me realize like, I can do this,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You mentioned Steve as your mentor earlier.
Yeah.
What for you is the importance of having a mentor in this space? What have you learned?
I think it's quite important in the sense that you have someone who has obviously had so much experience, like Steve, and everyone kind of knowing who he is and who he is as a person. And I think it was really important for me when we started working together, what I can learn from him, you know, inside and outside of the bar. And when it came to being behind the bar, it was just kind of like not necessarily learning all of like the science and dynamics of, you know, how to work behind the bar. Like obviously that comes with it, but also like the emotional and mental part of it. And I think that that's really important. And he did an amazing job of, you know, kind of holding my hand in the sense of just being like, all right, you know, you obviously work really hard, and like I recognize that. So like this is kind of how to build things around that, which is amazing. So I think mentorship for the younger generation is really kind of nurturing and nourishing the passion that the younger generation have. And kind of lighting a fire under their ass in a sense that like, you obviously want them to continue to be excited and everything, and there's a lot of skill sets that go into that, and just kind of taking it easy, like taking it one by one, You don't want to like overwhelm or bombard anyone with so much information at once, and you just want to make sure that they are first like absorbing all of the information and actually applying it, and then kind of taking it from there and seeing how they're applying it and so on and so forth. And yeah, I think Steve has just been like an amazing mentor because he's just such a humble human being, and with the status that he has within the industry, he's just a chill dude, and he's just so funny, and he's the kind of leader that has led from the front lines, and he's never been a person who kind of points and says like, I need this or I want this. He's the type of leader who was like, we're going to do this together. This is what we need, this is what we need to be doing together as a team. So I think that that's really important as well in leadership is remembering to lead from the front lines as well.
What do you think is next for you? Where does this role go from here? Is head bartender the next goal? I'm curious, I don't know the structure of the industry well enough, but what are you inspired to do next, or what challenges would you still like to face?
That's a tough question for me, just because I think that I'm just enjoying so much being where I'm at, and I'm so grateful to be where I'm at that, I think the end dream, yes, is to like eventually have my own place and be a bar owner as well, and take on, like we've been talking about teaching younger generations, but I think that I really just want to stay in the moment and enjoy where I'm at.
There's no rush for that.
There's no rush. There's
a long-term career.
Yeah.
There is plenty of
I'm
time
here to stay.
get there.
Yeah. I'm here to stay. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited about like what's to come with Sip and Guzzle, and what's to come for the team in general, for us as a whole. So I'm kind of just, I really want to just relish in the moment and continue to learn every single day and expand my experience and knowledge and have that lead me, rather than, start putting timestamps on things or like titles on things. Like I really just want my experience to lead me.
Yeah.
So whatever that may be.
Yeah, doing what you do will then show you what can come next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This also could probably be a whole other podcast episode, but do you have a favorite cocktail?
Yes. I have two. So I think my first one is going to be a Negroni. Just super
nice.
Basic,
Yep.
Strong, bitter, a little bit like me.
If you were a drink.
If I were a drink, I'd be a Negroni.
Okay.
I also really love a Vieux Carré.
That is my partner's favorite drink.
Yeah, which is like
funny.
No one really drinks them.
So, I was watching Kev and Dan from Satan's Whiskers presentation at Edinburgh Bar Show.
Oh yeah.
Apparently it is the third most searched cocktail on Difford's Guide.
Oh.
I'm like,
interesting.
What? Who has been drinking
Where
this?
are you guys?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, no idea. Crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say Vieux Carré or a Negroni. I had the pleasure of enjoying the Vieux Carré at the Carousel Bar in New Orleans.
Lovely.
Which is where it was invented.
Yeah,
So that's
an experience.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. But those are both my classics. When I first started drinking, I was drinking like a weird amount of Tom Collins.
Okay.
Like I just really thought it was a cool, refreshing cocktail, and it still is. But it's a cocktail that I don't think about, unfortunately, anymore. Like when I want something, I just go straight to a Negroni.
Fallen off your radar.
Right.
And are you helping to create any of the drinks at Sip and Guzzle?
Not quite yet. There are some things that I've like sort of worked on in the past, but I just unfortunately never ended up following through. So right now it's kind of mostly Steve, and then we have another guy who works with us whose name is Sam Morris, who is a bartender at SIP, but also the head of research and development, who's creating cocktails for kind of both concepts. So there's a couple ideas that I really want to work on with Sam. So now that we're back from our travels, I'm hoping to get together with him to work on some of the ideas that I have, and hopefully by this summer have maybe one or two on the menu, so we'll see.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely come back for that. Awesome. All right, last question before our last call round. We talked about what got you into the drinks industry, which again is, I'm kind of enjoying hearing your story. You're like, I really did fall into it. And then I'm like, this is my thing. You know, you really want to stay here. What is it that keeps you here?
The people, my team. I just love people so much. And I think that I just have gotten really fortunate to be able to have the team that I do at Sip and Guzzle that continues to ignite that happiness and that curiosity and that expansion, if that makes sense. So that keeps me where I'm at. And I think that whenever I talk to guests and I'm able to create a new regular or someone who comes back to see me, like, or see anybody else on the team, or even if they're coming back for the food and drinks and they barely talk to me, like, I'm just glad that they're back, you know. You
created an environment that made them want to come back, whether or not they connected with you personally.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And that's really special, because I feel like that's, I don't know if it's, I guess it's kind of hard to do. Like, I don't know. It's just a really incredible, special thing. And so I really feel like that's what makes me feel like I'm meant to be where I'm at. It's just that I just really love hospitality in general. And I think I talked about this before, but, you know, like, when it comes to being behind the bar and being creative, that's a little bit difficult for me. Like, after being so many years in the industry, like, yes, I can be creative. I'm much better at creating simple cocktails and simple things than I'm into like using all of these like machines and like different whatever and like all of that. Like, that's a little bit beyond me. I think my sort of like strength is my ability to just really resonate with people and you know, and having those conversations. And yeah, that's my favorite part. And I just love my team so much. Shout out to you guys. You guys are crushing it. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I want to go back and have you be my bartender. I mean,
Hell
I have wonderful experiences. Yes. I'm like, all right, I got to be on the side of the bar as a patron while you're running the service. Okay, last call. Quick questions, quick answers. What beverage do you start your day with?
Coffee.
Any particular kind of coffee?
Black coffee.
Just straight.
Black coffee.
Get that caffeine.
Black coffee, 2 Splenda.
Oh, nice.
I guess if we're being specific.
I want the details.
Okay.
This is drinks focused.
Okay.
Give me all the specifics. I love it. Is there a show or podcast you're particularly loving at the moment?
Let's see. Okay, I will say I have this show running on the background at all times. It's called I Think You Should Leave. It's a comedy show. Okay. That's always on in the background.
Cool.
And it's hilarious.
I'll check it out.
Yes.
Is there a beverage or producer that you wish more people knew about?
You know, this is actually coming onto the scene now, and I think it's super cool. It's called Donna's Pickle Beer.
Oh.
It's brand new. It's out of California, I believe, and we just got it at Sip and Guzzle, and I think it's so fucking cool. It's delicious, and you, as a beer person,
yeah, I missed it.
I
was too focused on the cocktails yesterday. Okay,
you gotta try it.
Coming back.
Yeah, so Donna's Pickle Beer is pretty cool.
Okay, where is left on your travel bucket list?
I would love to go to Japan. I really want to go to Tokyo. I would love to go to the SG Club there, the original. I would love to go to London. Actually, I've never been.
Oh, come see me.
Yes, I would love to.
Wonderful.
I've heard so many great things about it. There's quite a lot. I would say top 3, Tokyo, London, and then Paris in France. Nice. I would love to go see Paris.
Yeah, so. Okay, get you in for some guest shifts in all these different places. All right, last question. Is there another woman in drinks that you think I should chat with?
Yeah, absolutely. So her name is Andrea. She's a bartender with me at Sip and Guzzle. She also runs our social media page, and she's just a total badass. Like, she bartends with us. She does our social media. She's extremely talented. She has a really interesting story. She's from Serbia. And when I first moved back to New York and I was getting acclimated with being back in the city and you know, getting to know the team, she welcomed me with open arms and has been my best friend ever since. So she's really, really special as a person, as a friend, and also a colleague. And she just is really good at what she does, both behind the camera and behind the bar. So I think she would be a really interesting person to get to know.
Amazing. I'm definitely coming back.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this week's episode. For more from Victoria, don't miss her Guess Best reel on my Instagram later this week. And that's a wrap on our field trip to NYC. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I sure did. I'll be back next week with some updates from our Season 1 guests, and I'll let you know what you can expect from Season 2. If you know someone who'd enjoy the show, please do help spread the word by sharing a link to your favorite podcast platform or shouting about the show on social media or Substack. Thanks, as always, for listening. Cheers!